Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country or around the world. Welcome to week 3 of your journey into the world of the unseen. Now, I know it can seem strange to think of microorganisms, and especially unicellular bacteria, as living organisms, which they are, at least on one sense, very similar or not different from humans. In other words, at a very basic biological level, the job of humans is to propagate the species, and likewise with bacteria, their basic biological purpose is to propagate the species. And so bacteria respire. In other words, they exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. They ingest nutrients. They metabolize those nutrients. They excrete waste products and they reproduce, of course, just like humans. Now, the point is, in order to do all of that living stuff, bacteria need genes, well, just like humans do. And so bacteria carry their bacteria carry their genes on a single circular chromosome. Humans have 23, and ours are linear. Well, we have two pairs of 23, or 46 total, in a somatic cell, and those chromosomes are linear. The bacterial chromosome is circular. And so this week we take a look at microbial metabolism and bacterial genetics, and we'll examine how bacteria can manufacture the energy necessary to do all that living organism stuff. And second, how they can transfer characteristics, like, for example, antibiotic resistance, onto their offspring. We call them progeny. And so I have provided three short videos for you, one on aerobic and anaerobic respiration, one on the central dogma. I'll explain that a little more in a minute. And the third explains the methods of gene transfer between bacteria. All right, so chapter 6 is microbial metabolism. So all of life is dependent on a constant supply of energy. The penultimate source of energy, of course, is the sun. You're familiar with the term photosynthesis. If not the biochemical process, you at least understand that plants and grass absorb light energy from the sun, and then they transfer or convert that light energy into chemical energy. And then, for instance, grass absorbs sunlight, turns that into chemical energy. The rabbit comes along and eats the grass, and the fox comes along and eats the rabbit, and that energy is passed right on up the food chain. So we're talking about that in chapter 6. Now, in order to do all of that living stuff, bacteria have to garner that energy from their environment. So you'll learn about that chemical energy. We call it ATP. It's adenosine triphosphate. It's an adenine with 3 phosphate groups attached, triphosphate. We call it ATP for short. And you'll learn how bacteria can harness that energy to do all that living stuff. Now, chapter 7 is a blueprint of life. Now, your genome is the sum total of all of your genes that make you who you are. Everything that you are, that you do or think, everything that you feel is controlled by your genes. Now, our genomes are wrapped up, literally wrapped up, in those things we call chromosomes. And our chromosomes are made of DNA. And so the central dogma, it's the central dogma of molecular biology, and basically what it uh, describes in a very simplistic way is how that genetic information is transferred only in one direction, from DNA, your chromosomes, to RNA, to protein. And again, everything that you are or do or say or feel is governed by proteins. Now, when you think of protein, don't think of hamburger meat or chicken thighs. All right, everything is controlled. For instance, all the enzymes in your body, those are proteins. Hemoglobin that carries oxygen in your blood, that's a protein. Okay, so think of protein on that level, on the biochemical level. So the central dogma describes how the genes in DNA are turned into stuff that make you you, and that information only travels in one direction. And it's true for both eukaryotes like humans, true nucleus, and prokaryotes or microorganisms like bacteria. And so the second video I have is on central dogma. Help you understand that a little better. And then chapter 8 is bacterial genetics. Now, as much as we humans try to maintain stability and familiarity within our environments, the fact is environments are forever in flux. Right now, we're in the heart of winter, and so I wear long sleeves and I go outside and I wear a jacket and a cap. And if it's really cold, I wear gloves, right? So we're constantly adjusting to our changing environment. Maybe we don't notice as much as humans. We sort of take, like, for instance, take the seasons for granted. But our environments are forever in flux, and it's no different for bacteria whose environment is um, in flux, maybe uh, in a more profound way than ours is. We may not notice the changes unless something like some natural disaster occurs, but we're constantly adjusting to survive in our ever changing environments. The microorganisms are no different. Bacteria must constantly adjust in order to survive their continually changing environment. So you learn about mutations. That's how we adjust, that's how bacteria adjust. And mutations are the fuel for natural selection. And you'll see how bacteria evolve, and very rapidly, by the way, to survive and reproduce in their environments. And so I've posted a video on how showing you how bacteria exchange genes between them, and they pick up DNA from the environment, and um, that's how natural selection, that's how mutations happen and natural selection occurs, and bacteria evolve to survive in their environments. Okay, housekeeping items for the week. Make your discussion post early in the week, as always, so you can engage fully in discussion. That topic 3 post is due no later than Friday. That's February 20, 11:59 p.m. GCU time. Microbial metabolism homework and microbial metabolism and genetic homework and quiz. Both of those are due no later than Sunday, February 22nd, 11:59 p.m. DCU time. Always remember to check class resources. That's the resources menu on the left-hand vertical menu side of your topic page. I add stuff there on and off. Usually, if I add something there, I'll post an announcement about it. But just keep an eye on that because I often post helpful links there. And again, as always, pay particular attention to due dates on all of your assignments. Proper credit can only be given for complete and timely submissions. Any questions, issues, or problems, contact me as soon as possible. Message 804-229-7993. Some of you have used that already, and I appreciate that. Make sure you give me your first and last name and the class that you are taking, Microbiology 205 lecture or Microbiology 205 lab. I teach them both. Use your Halo message box or inbox. Those are the two quickest ways to get a hold of me. And then certainly you can contact me via campus email. Okay? That is all I have for you right now. Have a great rest of the week. Oh, I will be updating your grade books hopefully sometime today. And yeah, let me know what's going on. Have a great week.